Hi, my name is Heather, and today I'm going to show you how to take a page from your children's book and convert it into a coloring page for kids to color. This is the first video in a new series that I'm making, which is marketing materials for your children's books. I'm going to show you how to create all kinds of different marketing materials like bookmarks, business cards, a simple website, social media posts, and anything else that you'll need to help market your book. I think a coloring page is one of the best things that you can make to help market your children's book, because when you go to a school to do a reading for a class, or if you do a book signing at a bookstore, you can give them something to take home and color, and it'll have your information on there too. So if the parent then wants to go online and buy a book, then they'll know where to do that. I just want to mention that there are a lot of different ways that you can try to attempt to make a coloring page. Unfortunately, there isn't any easy way that actually comes out looking like a nice professional coloring page. There's all kinds of different filters you can apply in photo editing programs and stuff like that, but it never really looks like a nice professional coloring page. In my opinion, the only way that you're really going to get a good looking coloring page is by drawing it yourself. And you don't really need to be an artist for this though. If you are using a page that already exists in your book, then you can literally just trace over it, and then you can get your coloring page that way. So I'm going to show you how to do that in Procreate on the iPad. And I'm going to show you how to export a page from your Canva document, because I know a lot of you use Canva. But if you used a different program, then just export your page as a JPEG and you'll just pull it into Procreate. I have my book pulled up here. And when you pull up your book, you're just going to look through and try to find which page that you would like to create a coloring page out of. You want a page that's going to have a lot of things on it for the kids to color. So I probably wouldn't pick this one because there's no background. Or if I did pick this one, then I would want to add a background in. If I pick this one where he's sitting in the chair, then there's a lot for a kid to color in this, because you have the book and the mug and the plant and the chair, and they can color all of those different things different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. So I'm going to go to Share, Download, JPEG, and I'll turn the quality all the way up. Although the quality doesn't really matter too much because this is just what we're going to trace. So if you don't have Canva Pro, it's okay. You can just do quality 80. And down here, I'm just going to pick current page. So I'm going to uncheck all pages, and I'm going to check current page and click done and download. I'm going to use this iCloud drive that's on my Mac, and I'm just going to go to downloads and drop my image that I just exported onto that. And then I'll be able to access it from my iPad. But if you don't have a Mac, another way that I like to transfer files from my computer to the iPad is I just use Google Photos, and I'll upload the image to Google Photos. And then on my iPad, I have the Google Photos app. So then if I pull that up, then the illustration will just show up there automatically. On my iPad, I'm going to create a new file, and I want this to be the size of a piece of paper, because when I bring my children's book to schools or to bookstores to do a reading, I like to have the coloring pages to hand out, so I just print them on a letter-sized sheet of paper. So I'm going to click Paper. And now I'm going to import that page from my children's book. So I'm going to go to the Tools menu, Add. And if you uploaded the page to Google Photos, then you would do Insert a Photo, and that's how you'll be able to get that in. But if you use the iCloud Drive, then you have to do Insert a File. And then over here, you can pick iCloud Drive. And then I'm going to click on that page. And now I just need to resize this so that it makes sense. I don't want it to be really small or even just the size of the page, because then all this will be empty space that the kid will just have to color with one color, and that's kind of boring. So I'm going to try to make it as big as possible to take up a good amount of space. I could maybe even move it over a little bit, and then I could just kind of finish up some of the chair, just extend some of those lines. So that way he's a little more centered. And it's good that I have a little bit of empty space down here because I could put my information down there. Now I'm going to go to the layers and I'm going to click on the N and I'm just going to turn the opacity down. And this will depend on your artwork and how much you will need to be able to see it or not. I'll probably put mine to like 30 something. And then I'm going to click the plus sign to add a new layer. And this is where I'm going to draw. Now for the pen that I'm going to use, I want this to be a nice inking pen with smooth edges. Syrup is really good if you're comfortable with going harder and lighter with your lines to kind of give it some style. But if you don't feel super comfortable doing that, like if you don't have that control of the pressure down yet, then you can change syrup so that it stays one width. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm actually going to slide to the left and do duplicate. And then I'll click on it. And I'll go to about this brush and I'm going to click on the name and I'll rename it to something like coloring page inker. Then I'm going to go to Apple Pencil, and where it says size, I'm just going to change that to 0. And as you can see over in the preview, now it's going to be all the same width. Also, if you feel like you have too shaky of a hand, then you can change the stabilization and you can move streamline up. That way it'll smooth out your lines. So you can test it over here too. And then stabilization as well. So if you have problems with that, then definitely try those settings and try to figure out something that works for you. So then I'll click done. And now when you draw, it'll all be the same width no matter how hard you press. And you can change the width up here, so you can make it bigger or you can make it smaller. And if you're doing it this way, where you're not using the variable width, then I recommend that you do the same width for all of your lines, or just have 2 different widths that you do. And one can be for like details and the other one would be for more of the main lines. And that's how you're going to make it look like a nice professional coloring page. Now we just want to make sure we're on that second layer and we can start tracing over. First, I'm going to make sure that this is a good thickness. This is really thick, so I'm going to make it less thick. So 12 seems good for this. And I'm going to start by doing his head, which is an oval. And since an oval is a standard shape, I can just stop and hold this and then let go, and it'll make it into a perfect oval. I can also click up here so that I can pull these in and edit it if I need to. And then I can also erase, so I can erase where his beak is. So I'm going to click on the eraser. And if you're on a newer iPad, then you can actually click and hold and it'll set it to the current brush. But mine never works. See, it stayed on colored pencil. So instead, I'm going to go to Recent up here and I'm going to pick Coloring Page Inker. And I'll just erase where his beak is. And now I can continue. And if you mess up, you can just click with 2 fingers and that will undo. And you can also zoom in to try to kind of fix some of these up. Like right here, I went a little bit off. So I'll just zoom in. And I'm going to click the eraser and make it smaller. And then I can just kind of touch that up. So I'm going to make it really small so I can just go right against that edge there. If I want to maybe do like the line of the beak with a smaller size, then I can change the size here, but I need to remember that I use 12 for the outlines. And then I'll do something smaller. Let's see if 7 works good for the details. Yeah, that seems good for the details. I have 12 for the outlines and then 7 for the details. And yours might end up being different. And I'll make this oval and then I'll hold it. and then color this eye in. And then for the highlight, I could use the eraser and make a little circle. And I could also copy and paste this eye to the other eye, but you need to be very careful when copying and pasting. When you're just moving it, then it's usually good. But if you're resizing it, and especially if you're rotating it, it's going to look really bad and you're just going to have to redraw it anyways. This is just a bug of Procreate, and I really hope that someday they fix it. So anyways, to copy this over, I'm just going to grab the select tool and I'll just draw around the eye. Make sure this is on freehand if you want to draw it. And then I'm going to take 3 fingers and swipe down. And I'm going to go duplicate. And then I'll just move this over. And when I duplicated it, it did make a new layer for that. So if you go to the layers panel, you'll see here's a layer with the eye, and then there's the head. So I can merge these into one layer if I just go like this and I pinch them. And now I will go back to size 12 here, and I'll keep on tracing. And once you really get used to this, you can actually get it done really fast. You could go through a lot of pages and you can make a coloring book if you want that's based off of your characters. And it's really nice actually just to do this while you're listening to a podcast. It's just so relaxing. Now that I have all the main lines done, I can work on the details. So I'll move this down to 7, like I showed you before. And now I will just do the details. And then when you're all done with your details, you can take the layer below it. First, you can hide it by checking the little check mark and make sure you didn't miss anything. And then you can go ahead and delete it if you want to. You don't have to though. And then you can either write your information down here. So I would put like Platy's Perfect Day by Heather Cash. I would put my website. So if you have a website for it, you could do that. You could even drop like a small QR code in, but you'd probably want to do that in Canva. It'll be easier. But if you don't want to write it, then you can either add it in Canva with the text, or you can do the text in Procreate. I don't really like doing text in Procreate because it's kind of a pain, but I will show you how to do it anyways, just so you can kind of get everything done in Procreate and just export it and have your coloring page. I'm going to click on the Tools button and do Add Text. And I'm going to click on the little keyboard down here, Show Keyboard. And I'm going to type the name of my book. And I'm putting my website here. And then I'm going to click away from it so that I deselect it and I don't have the blinking cursor. And that'll just make it easier to edit the size of the text and the font and all that. So now if I click on the layers, then I can click on this layer and do edit text. And if I don't click inside of there and get that blinking cursor, then I can actually change the style a lot easier right now. So I'm just going to click on these 2 A's right here. And I'm going to make this much smaller because I just want it to be like on the bottom. And I can change the font over here. I think that's good. I don't really want to go smaller than that, but it does overlap one of these lines here. So I'm going to click on my art layer and I'll just grab my eraser and I'm just going to take it out right here where it overlaps with the text. Now my coloring page is done, so I can export it now. I know a lot of people like to print from PDFs, so you can go to the tools and share, and then you can pick PDF right here, and then pick best quality, and you can export it that way, and do save to files. And then you can rename it down here, and click save. And now you have your PDF. You could also export it as a JPEG if you're bringing it into a coloring book that you're going to assemble in Canva or something. So the possibilities are really endless of what you can do with this. I hope you liked this video, If you make your own coloring page, you can share it in my Creativity Club on Facebook. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or as always, you can email me at heather@heathercash.com. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.